So we enjoy seeing it. All the tour guys
Yeah, except that Bailey is me. I'm like, I can't breathe. But you know what my girlfriend told me? She said just to give their geriatrics because they really can't take sleeping pills. She said cherry juice has melatonin in it. It has a natural melatonin. So she said drink cherry juice before you go to bed. Yeah, well, the screen so I believe it. I guess yeah, it worked. I don't mind.
It didn't work out.
Yeah, well, what happened? But I can't get more what do I do? The northeast over there works out.
Strip mall actually has a shore.
We enjoy it. We saw everything.
But that's always everything.
Oh, you have a cat.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, That's experience. You know, it was a great choice. So we just
So would I
It's not okay.
Thank you.
Okay, folks, we're gonna call this meeting to order. We do. Okay, we have a quorum. Would you read us the minutes, please?
Hang on one second.
Okay.
I forgot to.
Hello?
Hey.
Hey,
All
what's
right.
up?
We're in the meeting. You're live.
Okay.
All right.
Make
Hi,
sure to
Fran.
make sure to mute yourself, Robin, so we don't hear you moving around unless you need to talk.
Yeah, can you mute it? Mute it?
Muted.
You can mute your phone.
Yeah, I can mute it.
Yeah. Okay.
Hold on, let's do that.
Are we microphone?
If you want.
I don't know. Do you want me to,
Yeah, just-
do I need the microphone or can I just
Yeah,
speak?
she probably has a microphone.
Can we forego reading of the minutes?
Yeah, we're gonna read it.
No, we don't
He
need
asked
to.
if we could forego.
Oh.
Oh, can we?
Can we forego maybe reading?
If the members don't approve the minutes, so if
Yeah.
you've all looked at them
Yeah.
and you don't need changes from when I sent them, then just make a
Yeah.
motion to
Okay,
approve.
okay.
We're good.
That's fine.
Motion to approve,
Second,
All right.
we gotta vote on it.
all in favor?
Probably
Aye.
leave that-
Aye.
probably leave that on.
If anybody ever needs a copy of the minutes, you know, I know that they're supposed to be online or whatever, but you can also contact me and I'll send you a copy, all right? Because, I mean, I've had people ask me before if I could send them the minutes, so that's not a problem.
Yeah, I do them, send them to you guys, and then I have to wait to put them online until you're
Yes,
approve
I
them,
know.
but I forget. So
Yeah.
if you think of it, or
So
you can always say, Janet, they're not there.
Okay.
Well, can we move on to the cluster reports then?
Yep.
Okay, cluster one doesn't really have much of anything to report this month. It was quiet. So, cluster two?
Okay, so, for cluster two, our dumpster and trash area, we had a sign that was missing. Cluster one had one, but we didn't have one. We contacted the county and they're gonna replace it. I don't know how long it's gonna take them, but hopefully, within the next 2 weeks or so. We also had a damaged recycle bin. It didn't have a lid on it, which posed a problem with raccoons and all these things and critters. So, Waste Pro came out and they replaced that bin. I don't know if anybody has noticed that. The smoke detector forms. So far I have received 13 forms from the different units. I've received from unit 6310, 6346, 6362, 6364, 6322, 6348, 6342, 6366, 6304, 6316, 6306, 6312, and 6314. This can be a hazard as it relates to fire, because each bedroom unit should have at least one well, one, smoke detector above the entry door, and if not, it's on the wall as you come through that door. The new stairs, that has been constructed, I looked over that last night, and it had a few issues. The railing was not secured to the wall, it's a bit shaky, and they didn't stucco that area where they had removed the railing previously. So that needs to get done. The stairs is not yet painted, and then there's also like exposed metal around the perimeter of, when you're, the threshold where you enter the unit. So all that metal is still there, still have a lot of paper and taping and all of that there as well. The flashing, right. There's also a lot of unfinished paint jobs, I believe. Oh, okay. Okay. Alright, so we have a list here with, all the stoops and the doors which have been painted, and, then we have the units listed where we're gonna work on a time frame, with everybody so that Abraham will be able to paint whatever didn't get painted. What else is there?
Do you all know who Abraham is? Do you all know who he is?
No.
Abraham is our new handyman. And he works Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 8 in the morning until noon like Pierre used to. So you'll see him driving around in a golf cart. If you wanna stop and chat with him, he's a very nice man, very friendly.
Okay. I had a unit that had an issue with the roof leaking. I had a roofing contractor come out, they looked at the roof, and he, did an estimation and noticed that the entire roof needs replacement. We're gonna look into getting another roof contractor to get, other options, if we could just repair the roof or just remove the entire roof at a cheaper cost. It had issues with ponding because there was a slope issue with the roof, so the water has been just settling in one area, and then it also leaked into the unit and damaged their sheetrock. So that is in the works right now. Another issue, another resident had issues with the pool, and there was some noise, and it was, troublesome for him and his wife to go to sleep at night. They're coming out tomorrow, to take a look at that. Oh, they were? Oh, they were? No. Okay, okay, so the noise, okay. Okay, alright, and then it's just some minor things I've seen around that has to do with our health, safety, and welfare, and, like asphalt having like little dips in them that could twist somebody's ankle or stuff like that, and somebody's facial board, that needs to get fixed, but other than that, that's the report for this month.
Thank you. Robin?
You're muted.
Just unmute her.
Hello?
Hi.
Hello?
Hi.
You're up.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
We have a speaker.
Okay. Right now in cluster 3, we are hopefully gonna start getting the gables repaired. I talked to Tim yesterday, and he's looking to possibly start tomorrow, if not early next week, he said. So, that's pretty exciting to start working on that. We also got the deposit in for painting, so once the gables are, stuccoed, then he's going to paint the cluster and get that repaired. But our main problem still is the water issue in the courtyard. I had 2 tenants call me today complaining that the pressure of the water is low, and I explained to them that we're trying to get with the county to have them come out and take care of this, but we have to get permission from them to turn off the water and get permission and let everybody know that what's going to happen with that. which is the businesses and other neighbors. So that's a major dilemma right now. I know Nancy had Abraham go over and water some of the stuff, but we don't really have anybody available to keep running sprinklers over. So the sooner we can take care of this, the better. Like I said, the tenants are wondering why their water pressure is so low as well. So that's what's going on right now in 3.
Cluster 4, pretty much the same as last month. We're still, I guess, finishing up some work on the spindles around the building, on the stairways and the upper walkways. We had the stairways pressure wash. Abram pressure washed the stairways, and we're going to be painting the treads of the stairways. Am I forgetting anything? I don't know. That's about it now. We're just kind of doing some basic maintenance.
Okay, we've got, all the storm damage is now under contract, so it's like a major thing to have all of it. Some of it's done, the roofs are pretty much done. The gables, we're probably in contract with the same group that Robin's using. And we're planning on painting the whole complex sometime this year, and the gables will be painted at that time also. We're anticipating the storm assessment letter. We hope to come in at under $2,000 per unit. And Janet, do you want to talk about that now, or?
We have to talk about it. It's going to be the last item on the agenda tonight.
Okay.
We have to address it.
We'll let that go then. We have a number of rule breakers that we have struggled with for months and months and years actually, and so I'm looking forward to getting a finding committee going and putting the hammer down. So it's just ongoing struggle, and it's very tiring. That's it.
Okay.
Well, we haven't been having any major issues. I guess one of the reoccurring problems that we've had is with our heating system. It's hard for them to keep it clean enough to keep the water flow moving like it's supposed to, and it's one of those he said, she said, all that kind of stuff. He says it's their fault, he says it's the other's fault. So anyway, I think it's working right now, but it works for a couple of days and then it needs to be cleaned again. So it's just really a pain. But, and then I've had, different issues about the parking, but we hope that that will be eventually taken care of. And I've had some issues with pets, but anyway, that's pretty much it.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah,
Now,
that's the master.
the master, okay. The master has one kind of big problem, and that's this big puddle that's out here on the sidewalk. We've been dealing with it since last May. We've had a company called Sleuth Leak Detection out twice. And they have been unable to do much of anything because we can't find the correct drawing that shows where there might be pipes. And then all of a sudden the equipment for the main pool started leaking all over the place in that area behind all the tall shrubs that are there. And we didn't know if one was connected to the other, so I called Water Club out and had them come check. The leak that was in the equipment was actually the result of our person from Pinch a Penny not doing his job. He is supposed to be carrying the part, it's a hose, a small clear plastic hose that goes from one part of the motor and into another one, and it controls the water, as it goes up and down in the pool. It was cracked, and it was spewing water all over the place. Well, it turned out that that was a quick fix, just replace the plastic tube. And the leak went away for the pool. The sad part is, it's not the same leak as what's out on the sidewalk. So we're still faced with that one, and, tomorrow, I have Water Club coming out to look at some other parts of the equipment out there, and to do a DE treatment on our filters, because the filters are supposed to be removed and cleaned about every month. And Pinch has not done it since this guy started, which cost Cluster 1 to buy a brand new filter for the pool, and it's gonna probably cost the master to buy a new set of filters for the big pool. They're not cheap, but we have to keep that pool up and running. So anyway, and then on Monday, Water Club is coming back out, another team of theirs, and they are going to actually go in the pool. They are going to look for leaks. They will repair them. Their charge is $395 for this service. They will repair any leaks that they find in the pool liner. They will clean it real good and do all of those kinds of things, but the best thing is they're going to use sonar. And so by using sonar, they're going to be able to figure out where our pipes are, and if any of those pipes going to our pool are actually leaking, which may actually find what we're looking for at this point. If it's under a pipe underneath the pool, we have to dig all that out in order to get to it, to get it repaired. But we will get it taken care of in time as we go along, once we figure out for sure what it is that's wrong, because we certainly don't want to dig everything up if that's not the problem. So we're moving forward, and what their philosophy is kind of like eliminate things one at a time in order to find what actually is wrong. And so we've already eliminated a half dozen different things, so we're getting there. And that's a good thing. So yes.
Are we holding Pinch a penny?
I have
For anything?
spoken to his manager at Pinch, and I told him this is the second time now that we've discovered that he's not doing what he's supposed to be doing when he's here, and that we have a contract with them. And though I have not seen the contract, I don't know if we have the capability of holding them accountable for any of it, but I do know this: Friday is Kyle's last day with Pinch a Penny.
Oh.
He's being dismissed from his job, and he told me they have a new gentleman who they've hired who has a lot of experience working as a pool maintenance technician, and he'll be coming in and he'll be taking Kyle's place 3 times a week, just like Kyle does now. And he wants the job. He wants to be here. I don't think that this was Kyle's first choice, but I don't know that for sure. So I'm just telling you, we're getting a new pool guy. So keep your eye open for him. I don't know what his name is yet, but he'll be here most likely next week.
I was just wondering if we can hold them accountable for the filters or whatever.
Well,
I
that
mean,
would be nice if we could.
Okay.
I just haven't seen their contract.
Okay.
And so I would have to see their contract, and then it should tell us something in there if they're accountable for it. But, they understood my frustration. So, that's where we are on the master. Okay? Okay, the first thing that is on the list for unfinished business is consideration of towing matters. And I'm not exactly certain, other than the addendum. I believe the addendum is the piece that we're waiting on. Is that correct?
We have to make changes to.
Yes, we do.
And then
Yeah.
this was given you a copy of the rules.
The parking, I think we need to make updates to our parking rules and regulations prior, not saying prior to the addendum, but
there's,
In conjunction with.
well,
With it.
to be honest with you, once we update our parking rules, it's really not an addendum anymore, because we don't, you know, an addendum is making the changes. There's so many changes or updates that we need to do, there's missing words, there's,
Through the whole document.
yeah. So, your document that you have there, that's a draft, a draft copy, is just, it's word for word. What's bolded is words added, lined out is obviously stuff that we're taking out. Stuff that either no longer applies or is changed.
Right now, looks like this.
So, I'd suggest we just go paragraph by paragraph and read it and see if anybody has concerns.
Does this correspond directly
No.
with it, or not necessarily?
This needs to be done before that addendum, which
Okay.
an addendum is changing stuff. And it was really hard to match the contract, or not really match the contract with Comto, but to
Sync.
to sync, yes, to sync, because what we considered an inoperable vehicle was this. What Calvin considered an inoperable vehicle was this. So there was wording that wording in sections that had to be just changed and defined, which were good definitions. Otherwise, there was too much change on the addendum.
Okay, is it safe to say that if we change this,
This would
it
become,
would be null and void, and it would
Thi-
become all this?
this,
No, you
this,
still
go
want
or no?
this, you still
You
want this
still
as
need
an
this?
addendum, and you
Okay.
still want the owners to sign it, and I'll tell you why. Florida statute assumes that when an owner purchases in a condominium in Florida, that they are entering into a contract with the association, and they agree to follow the use restrictions, one of which is being your rules and regulations. When you make changes to those, you want a signed paper saying, I acknowledge the changes.
Okay.
So you can still use this, but reword it to match your.
this would be reworded to match
Right.
this,
Okay.
which was heavy consideration in with the paper that Judy handed to Comto with all the questions. Everything was taken into consideration, everything was updated to match the concerns that was brought toward the board.
Alright, so do we take this paragraph by paragraph, like, and just like,
Yeah, it's just,
Where there's changes? Yeah.
yeah,
and just read the first paragraph?
Well, on this one, did you add all that? Cause you didn't add all that, you just took out the will be hung because.
What's bolded is added, what's crossed off is what we originally had. So, that's the technical way of doing any of this. I don't like reading it that way. I'd rather have a copy of what it was and what it's going to be.
Yeah, it's underline and strike out is what the attorneys do, same thing.
Yeah.
Same thing.
I don't like it, but I believe that's the technical way of doing it.
Mhm.
Will you read it out loud?
Yeah,
Well,
they're
you
gonna read
certainly
paragraph
can,
by
yes.
paragraph, yeah.
Sure.
Okay, I'll start the first paragraph. It says parking. Parking tags are available from, and it used to say cluster director, and should be hung on the rear view mirror at the windshield. Now it says parking tags are available from CNS Property Management and should be displayed on the right side of the rear window or bumper of the vehicle. Only those residents on a lease or title to the property will receive parking decal permits. Each vehicle will be assigned a decal permit, up to 2 active vehicle permits per unit. The decal must be assigned to a specific vehicle. If you purchase a new vehicle, you must report your registration information to the management firm CNS for verification and issuance of a new decal. Old decals are not transferable. So that pretty much covers everything,
So-
and it keeps our two-car limit,
Yes.
two
Right,
vehicle
so
limit.
what, Charlie, what?
We've got, a problem with, the right side of the rear window or bumper. I think they originally said just on the rear of the vehicle.
No, they
No, I
specifically
think it
said
said
the
rear
rear
window.
window
Yep.
or
Or
bumper.
bumper.
They gave a little diagram
Yep.
with it.
Yep.
That's fine, some of mine are probably on the wrong spot, but
So
that
are you
they run
okay?
the.
Ours is
yeah,
okay.
I
but-
just got all my license plate anyway, so they'll
Yeah.
see it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think
But,
a
you
lot
know,
of
it's good
people's
to-
are on the left.
It's good to
I'm
have it going forward.
No, don't
It's,
answer.
it's good to have it, I'm sorry?
No,
No,
I'm
no,
sorry.
no,
I was telling Nancy we're not
there's
answering
something here.
right now, the board is
We'll
discussing
get to
this.
the questions when we're finished with going through here, okay?
So-
Can you just jot them down so you don't forget? Oh, that's
It's,
good, 'cause I would.
That was me.
It's good to have it uniform
Kelvin likes
going forward.
consistency. That way his
Yeah.
drivers aren't,
But I don't
you
think there's gonna be a problem.
looking all around the vehicle to find a sticker.
Absolutely.
No,
Yeah.
I agree
They
with
run
you.
the license plates anyway, so
Right.
it's
Yeah.
like, it's fine.
Now, the only, I'm gonna make just one little grammar, it's not even grammar, but correction here, syntax, right? So, you wanna say the management firm, put CNS in parentheses, easily replaceable if you have a different management company. Same thing in that first sentence, we're gonna change that where it says CNS Property Management to the management firm, CNS in parentheses,
Okay.
just so it's consistent.
Paragraph 2 or?
Go ahead.
Okay. Each condominium unit is assigned one parking space within the cluster in which the unit is located. The residents shall park their automobile in the assigned space. A maximum of 2 cars per unit are permitted to park on Pebble Springs property. The second car may be parked in any unmarked space within Pebble Springs.
You mean numbered?
No,
I mean, what do you mean by marked?
unmarked.
Unmarked.
It used to say designated guest parking space in the residence cluster. Now, instead of saying in the designated
Okay.
guest, it's gonna say parked in any unmarked space.
But I thought they could also park in the one for visitor.
Well, but you don't want to.
I want.
I know,
encourage to do that.
but I thought that was,
You don't
okay.
I would like to add something to that paragraph, please, and Tom, you and I had spoken about this yesterday. And, that they could park in any unmarked space, but their first priority should be always to use their carport, and second, to use their own cluster, before they go to somebody else's cluster. So however you wanna phrase that, works, because that way we are trying to keep them close to home and not force them to go wherever it is they're gonna go.
Well,
So-
it
But you
says,
wouldn't
it
be
says
forcing
you,
them.
the resident shall park their automobile.
in
Shall
their assigned
is not
space.
negotiable, may is negotiable,
Okay.
shall is
That's-
park there.
That's correct.
And then the second
Two
car
cars.
to park in the Pebble Springs property, the second car may be parked in any unmarked space within Pebble Springs.
See, that's where I would like to see it say, please check your own cluster
Their
first.
own
cluster.
Use your own cluster
Yeah.
first.
The only one thing that I hold caution to with that is, you know, late at night or afternoon, whatever, I come in and I park. Let's just say I come to cluster 4, there's no parking spaces, so I go and park in cluster 3. And 2 hours later, my vehicle's still there, but cluster 3 had 8 people or 8 friends over, or vehicles, they left. Now Robin comes out and goes, well, you have 4 open spaces in cluster 4, why didn't you park there? Well, at the time I came in,
Yeah.
there was no open
Right,
spaces.
that's why this doesn't really work.
And that's why, I
And you can-
I get it, I totally get that,
Yeah,
both
you
sides.
can encourage people to do that.
I just
And
don't
make
want-
it-
What
make
we
it
would
a-
be
yeah,
doing
yeah,
is
but-
encouraging that.
Yeah.
We'd be
We're not making it
encouraging.
a rule, so make it a separate sentence that says,
Encourage.
please, please make
Yeah, we
use of
encourage-
your.
Or
Your
vehicles
clusters
your
are
own
cluster.
Strongly
Yeah, we
encourage.
encourage you to park in your own cluster first.
Just as long as no director, resident, starts complaining because, well, when I came in at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, there was no parking spaces in my cluster, and I parked in cluster 3. And then all of a sudden at 8 o'clock at night, well, now there's all open spaces in cluster 4.
You should put your phone number on the windshield and say when there's an open spot in my cluster, give me your
Yeah.
ring and I'll come to the car.
Please call.
Or better yet, put your car in your.
No, if we're
No,
going
I'm second vehicle, yeah.
if we're gonna adopt this tonight, I need the sentence. You have to have it, we have to have it. So what do you?
Now, wait, I need to ask something. Was, Robin, was she sent this?
No.
Oh, we're reading it,
No.
we're reading
We're
it out
reading
loud.
it out
We're
loud,
reading
yeah.
out loud, so,
Okay.
okay.
I have to interject here. I have a resident who wants 3 permits, and she has 2 adults and a 18-year-old. She wants her 18-year-old son to live there and go to college, and she says there's plenty of empty spots, and I don't have a recommendation, but I said that I would bring it up for the board to consider, and
Isn't
Well,
she
I
the
mean,
one
I
that
think
has
it's
a
pretty-
3-bedroom?
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How many of those
Yeah,
are
but
there?
we're not basing this on some
If we-
privilege or bedroom, number of bedrooms.
If we make an exception, unfortunately, for one, we're going down a rabbit hole that we do not want to get down.
Absolutely.
Our declarations, rules, and regulations state 2.
From day one,
And,
right? So if anybody, like the unit, whatever unit she lives in.
When she
whoever-
purchased.
When she purchased
Yeah.
it, right, she was made aware of that, and so was every other owner of that unit prior to her,
And-
since the place was built.
well,
Yeah,
here,
they've not been changed.
I don't believe that's a board decision. I believe that's in our declarations that you get 2 parking spaces.
It has to be voted on by.
It
the
has to be
owner,
voted
yeah.
on by the community. We have to proxy, we have to vote,
Amend.
and then we have to amend our documents.
Yeah,
The board, it's not a board, to me, it's not a board decision. This is an
well,
owner.
not to you, but you're saying it's not a board. The board can't decide that, right?
We're being recorded. The answer's no. You can't.
Right.
It would take an amendment to the declaration.
Right, and the attorney
Yeah.
and all that, yeah.
Yeah. And it would have to go out, and because you have, so it would only be cluster 5 people that would be voting on it for cluster 5.
okay, I brought it up, it was discussed, and passed over. So,
Okay.
yeah, thank you.
So sentence at the end of paragraph 2.
You know, it's hard enough, it was hard enough putting all this together to begin with.
Tell him what to write.
What
What-
just put on here, you're encouraged
Strongly encouraged.
in your own cluster first.
You are
Yeah,
strongly
that's simple.
encouraged.
Residents are strongly encouraged to park in their own cluster.
All right, Tom, you writing the same thing that they're writing?
Well, we'll get with afterwards, I
Okay.
can't say afterwards and make sure our
All right.
wording or whatever is 100% accurate and matching.
Yeah, so you're not writing something different?
Yes.
Are strongly encouraged to park in their own cluster first. Park in. Why do you say first? Can't we just say in their own cluster? And just leave it at that?
Yeah.
Yes, you could say that.
Residents, owners, or visitors, or everyone? Everyone is strongly?
I would say residents.
Residents are.
Residents are strongly encouraged to park in own cluster.
Everybody's okay with that?
I think so.
I can go if you want. Paragraph, must be 3, yes. Residents are responsible to inform their visitors to park only in the areas designated for visitors. If all designated visitor parking spots are full, visitors must park off premises. Visitor parking is limited to 3 consecutive days. In the event a visitor's vehicle will be on the property for longer than 3 consecutive days, the resident should contact them. We got question marks, but I think what we mean is the management company.
It'll be CNS.
management company, parentheses, CNS, for assistance. Residents arriving on the property with a loaner/rental vehicle need to park in visitor parking until they,
Able to
until,
contact CNS.
well, until they do contact, not able,
Until they contact.
until they contact.
Yeah.
So
Oh, yeah, until they contact.
strike are able.
Well, it makes sense, cause in other words, if it's a Friday, a Saturday, a holiday,
Right.
Until they are able to yeah.
until, or you can say until the next business day the management firm is open,
Let's see what it.
I guess.
Okay, so you wanna leave in are able?
no.
What do you want to put?
Until they contact the management company. for
Yeah,
an
because
exemption.
because if they choose to wait 3 days, that's on them.
So not able, just say until they
And-
contact.
yeah.
So are able to, scratch that out.
Right?
How about need to park in visitor parking and must contact management firm for an exemption to park in their reserved spot, or,
Yeah.
Let me
or
ask a
must
question.
contact management firm before parking in their reserved spot.
Sure.
Let me ask a question on this one. I don't know how many of the clusters have people who generally fly in to use their unit rather than bringing their car.